Three. Welcome, everybody, to the ultimate open house blueprint for the digital age. It's a step-by-step system to hosting profitable open houses that generate leads and boost your sales. And my name is Kevin Berju. I'll be guiding you through the course. This is a really packed full of information course. It takes a kind of a new direction. So the reason we put this together was because in giving it some thought and doing some research, open houses haven't really changed in the last 15 to 20 years, like the way people are doing them. What changed was, okay, now we advertise them on, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but the structure of them, the way we do them hasn't really changed that much. So we haven't really gone into digital age. Technology has changed tremendously. What is even more important is the market's changed. Over the last 3 years, 4, 5, 6 years ago, you do an open house, you'd have, on a good open house, you've had 6, 7 couples show up. Now, because of the lack of inventory, you're having 20, 30 couples show up or people show up. And how do we handle that? How do we maximize that? Because the reality is that sorry, there we go. The reality is that the way that the houses sell has really changed. We don't have a lack of we have a lack of inventory, I should say. So because we have a lack of inventory, the house is well priced. If it's cleaned up, decent neighborhood, it's very likely to sell. That being said, let's focus and maximize what we can get out of it because we know the house is going to sell. So with that being said, let's get into the digital age. First thing, before we get started, I'm going to have you check in. The reason we do that, so if you're on your phone and you can't scan this, just take a screen capture of it and do it right after the class. The reason we have to do this is because in all these classes, we have handouts. We have step-by-step guides that we want to get out to you. If we don't have your email address, we're not going to be able to do that. So, and we don't email you to death. That's not what we're about. We let you know when future classes are coming up. That's pretty much it, unless there's some other big news that we think should get out to you. But again, screen capture this or log on to this. This is what you're going to say. It's please check in below. It's just a little bit of information, your name, phone number, email, company, and the class you attended. When it comes to the class that you attended, there's a drop down. Choose Ultimate Open House, and then just click on that, and that'll check you in for the event. If you want to get a hold of me, again, my name is Kevin Berju. I work for Cross Country Mortgage. I've been involved in real estate for over 30 years. I was a realtor just like you. We'll get into that later. But if you want to look me up, here's my QR code for the link card. Link card is really terrific. I highly recommend it for people because it really does a phenomenal amount of connecting everybody to all your social media. I mean, get me on Google, Facebook, Instagram. We're revamping our YouTube channel. I'm not on X or TikTok, and I won't even go into that why. But link card's great because I can even have people, like, you can send my contact out to your client and they can make application right there. So that's awesome. It's just good for 20 bucks. Can't beat it. It's a good resource. Okay, agenda. Let's review today's agenda. So first thing is overcoming open house issues. There's always some issues. We're going to show you how to get around them, and just a couple of them, the main ones that come up. Preparing and promoting your open house. How to properly prepare and promote your open house. The big day, and I like to say big days, because quite frankly, we figured out in doing our research, we found out that it's better to do it over a couple days than just have one day. But there's ways to do both. And capturing and converting your leads. Again, you could do all this work. If you don't figure out how to follow up, then most of it is going to be for naught. We're not going to do the remedial, normal open house blueprint type of stuff that your brokerage should be teaching you. I'm a little bit amazed how much brokerages don't always teach you that, but they should be. But we're not going to go into that type of stuff. The stuff that you can find out anywhere, and it's pretty normal to go into. What we're going to focus on is more newer stuff and digital, how to bring it into this age. Okay, so question number one, what is the primary method used to find real estate agent to sell a home? So how do people find you? I'm looking for a house. How do I find you? How do you get people to find you? And the answer to that is referrals. Referrals account for the majority of the way the people that get to you. And believe it or not, something that we did find interesting in all of our research was it's not just boomers that are referrals. You would think people in my age bracket and the generation after me would more rely on referrals, right? And less on digital. We were not born with this, which, by the way, this is the only thing you're going to need for today. Um, so you can have that in hand. You can take notes if you want to, but this is going to be on YouTube later on, and you'll get a copy of it. So you'll be able to slow it down, stop it, get everything you need from it. But anyhow, getting back to this. So the surprising thing is 41% of referrals came from ages 24 to 32. 42%, 33 to 42. So all, people or millennials, Gen Zs, all of that is much younger, and it came from referrals. So that shows it's significantly important that you have a sphere of influence. And today we're going to show you a way to grow that sphere of influence. Next question is an open house a waste of time or the greatest opportunity in real estate ever? So I think it's a very good opportunity. I think it's very underrated, and realtors don't take enough advantage of the marketing potential and the growing of your sphere of influence and thusly your business. So let's think about how the process goes. The process of getting a client. Okay, the major methods of acquiring a new client. Okay, so number one is referrals. These are the warmest and probably the least costliest to you. You should have a good CRM, which we'll go into a little bit later. But again, it's a really great way to get people. It's the number one way, as we showed, and it works wonderfully, and it's not expensive. Number two, buying a list. So that can be really expensive, very time consuming going through those lists, finding out who's real, who's not real. I know that there's scrubbed lists out there, but I've looked at them and haven't found them very well scrubbed. Um, you know, I find them time consuming and unreliable, and you just can't count on them. Zoom could turn around tomorrow, not Zoom, I'm sorry, Zillow could turn around tomorrow, or realtor.com, and say, no, we're going to open up our own thing, which, by the way, they already have, and that spigot could disappear tomorrow, and it could disappear for a lot of other reasons. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying just realize it is what it is. We're looking at what are the best ways. Social media presence. Well, that's something that has expanded drastically in the last 10, 15 years, has mass appeal. It's not that expensive at all, but it is time consuming and you need consistency. There's no time off on that. And then I kind of lumped this group together: divorce records, expireds, accountants, lawyers, financial consultants, and marketing shows. Like if you do first-time buyer seminars, I do one online every 2 weeks for first-time buyers. So stuff like that. So they're the major ones. Now, what's missing here, I think, is then there are open houses. So open houses are great for a lot of reasons. Number one is control. And here's what I mean by control. You get to choose the area that you want to market in and the type of home you want to use. You want to be the king and queen of condos. Fine, go into condos. You want to do part of the center of a city or the urban areas, or do you want to do more suburban? So you get those choices. You can do what you want. Okay, you get to choose how you want it to go. The consumer is coming to you in a controlled environment. Think about how often, you know, somebody will come to us and it'll be in a supermarket, or you'll get a call at 9 o'clock at night. I can't tell you the countless Facebook posts I see when, someone said, I just woke up. I got a message from my client. They want to go see a house in a half hour. But this is a controlled environment. So the consumer's coming to you, where and when. So you can be prepared. You know what kind of questions they're going to come to you with. You know that they're going to ask, the buyer questions, the typical seller questions that are going to come to you. So again, you can be prepared and in control. You get to pick the range of price points. You want to work in the $300,000 range? Great. You want to work in the $700,000 range? Great. Go to those areas. You want to work in $1 million or multi-million dollar range? You can do that too. You are in control. And they don't even have to be your listings, by the way. You can do it on other people's listings. So that's another way you get to choose. Also, this is a unique, direct, one-on-one conversation with no middleman, and it's very cost efficient. You don't have to take 15 steps to get in front of the consumer and have a direct face-to-face conversation and get to connect with them. People get to see your brand when they come to open house. They get to see your attention to detail. And you'll hear me say in these classes over and over again, it's the mantra, like the Star Wars has, may the force be with you. Our mantra for these classes is conversations lead to contracts. Always. It's the only way to really get to a contract. Start having conversations. The more conversations you have, the more contracts you're likely to get, or the more chance of a contract. Okay, so what's the goal here in hosting an open house? Well, to sell the house, of course. But again, in today's market, it's much easier to do that. It's not going to be forever, but it's going to be at least for another year or so. So that's our first goal, but really that takes care of itself. So then really what we're trying to do is generate buyer and seller leads, listing leads. And these are two different markets that require individual thought processes, campaigns. And by the way, you'll know that you've held a very successful open house if you get 3 to 5 people requesting CMAs, wanting to know the value of their home. That's a good open house, and that's really what you want to go for. And keep in mind, how many times do you see in a relatively quiet residential area, right? One that doesn't get a lot of listings. You'll see a listing come up, and then boom, right around it, 2 or 3 other listings, come up a month later or 2 months later. That's because of this. It has that effect, and you want those to be your listings. So you have to learn how to capitalize on that. Okay, open house options. So there's actually 4, but we're just going to cover 3 today. Ways to host an open house and types of open houses that you're going to host. The first is the broker's open. Everyone knows what that is, right? You invite, your realtor will invite, or you, the realtor, will invite a lot of other realtors from various brokerages to your house. It helps get the word out, does all that stuff. Again, we're not going to go into the remedial. One of the things that should notate on that, it's great when you have an overpriced listing. Your seller is kind of stubborn, doesn't want to, realize that it's an overpriced listing, that they're setting the bar way too high. Well, you get an opinion from all those people, and they could say, great house, fantastic renovation, wonderful backyard, awesome, but price too high, price higher than the rest of the market. Where'd you get your pricing? And you can hold those in advance. 2 weeks later, you've got no showings, and your person's coming to you, your seller's coming to you, going, what's going on? You say, remember I told you this. Here it is, and give it to them in writing. So that's the broker's open. The next is one that is not used a lot particularly in the East Coast, I haven't seen. I've seen a little bit more in the West Coast and in other different areas. It's the neighborhood sneak peek. It's an exclusive first look for the neighbors looking at the house if they haven't been in there. It gets them a chance to, maybe they want to upgrade or right size, or just be downright nosy, or maybe they want to pick their next neighbors. They know that their brother wants to move in into that same neighborhood, so they want to take a look at your house. Um, Again, I don't see this a lot in my area. I'm on the East Coast in the tri-state area in Delaware, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. But you don't see this a lot. It's a fantastic opportunity. Um, you might say, well, gee, why do I want to make it another open house? I'm already busy. And listen, if you're that busy right now that you can't look at doing an open house a little differently, then I salute you. But this is, again, the biggest missed opportunity when you're trying to make a market in your area. Getting the neighbors to come in gives you two things. Number one, it gives you a chance at their listings because you know who comes to a lot of open houses? People that are going to list their property. So these are your future listings. Even more important than the future listings is the people who are rocks in the neighborhood. So here's what I mean by that. There's rocks and then there's climbers, right? So climbers are people, you know them, every 5 to 7 years they want to get up to the next house. They want to reach for the stars. Their economic strata has changed. Maybe it hasn't, and they just want to reach further. They want to upgrade their house, get something bigger. So those people are going to continually move every 5 to 7 years till they get to some level. And then there's the rocks. The rocks are people who say, I grew up a block and a half from here, or my family lives all in this area, or maybe economically I can't afford to move, or I just love this neighborhood, I'm never moving, you're taking me out in a pine box. They're the rocks. Now those rocks have a ton of information. They've been in the neighborhood their half their lives, or their whole lives maybe, so they know a lot about it. These are people that are invaluable. You want to become their best friend, and they're going to want to come. They're kind of nosy. They like to know stuff about the neighborhood, so they show up. These are people that you should go visit, bring tea, chocolate, vodka, whatever their favorite thing is, and sit down with them for an hour every 3 to 5 months. Get to know what's going on in the neighborhood, bring something to write with, figure you're going to spend an hour, but they're invaluable. And you get that through, again, this sneak peek for the neighbors. Again, you're having conversations with them. Conversations lead to contracts. So, they're great people to have. And you can do it different times. You could do it twilight open. You can do it maybe before your main open. And we'll get to some of that. The next is the public open. Public open. This is the big event, right? It's an open house to welcome anyone who might be interested in the property or just checking out the property. Okay, so we're all in open houses. Who's the most successful group of people at running open houses? You can put it in the chat. Bueller, Bueller. Okay, so if you guessed this, new construction, you're right. So new construction this is basically the way that they sell their open houses. They have these phenomenal open houses for hours. They put out a ton of flags. They put out a ton of directions. They have perfected doing the open house. Now, they're not as good, I find, for some odd reason. Most builders are not great at social media. So this is the way they want to get people on site. They want to get them excited. And so they make it like a bonanza. They make a big deal about it on an open house. You'll have 50 signs running in all different directions. So how many people, again, if you're younger, you might not be exposed to this, but in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, air travel was expensive and not as common. They didn't have nearly the amount of flights. So people used to travel in their car. It's November, you want to go somewhere warm. You got in the car and you hopped down to Florida. You went down I-95. Well, you go down I-95, and there's a reason I'm telling you all this. You go down I-95, you start seeing signs around Delaware for, fireworks south of the border. Now, you couldn't get fireworks online like you can now. You couldn't do any of that stuff. So there was like one place that sold it south of the, and you saw dozens of huge, big advertisements for south of the border fireworks. You get there, it's like a 2,500 square foot little property. I think I went there once. It was 3,000 square feet, something like that. And I think it's in South Carolina. I don't remember. I was a kid. But that's what they do in new construction. And we should be doing that as well. Put out a ton of signs and get people excited about it. Also, the other thing that I think that we don't do enough of, and they do in new construction, is we have these really shorter open houses. New construction, they're all day. They're like 11 to 5. I know in this area, the urban center, New York, Philadelphia, they do an open house in an hour. I don't know how you do that. By the time you get there and get set up, and you start getting people in, you're 15 minutes into that, and then 10 minutes before the hour ends, you're thinking about packing up, running to the next. They'll do 3 in a day, and I don't think that's a great way to do it. But I think it's better when you plan it, spend the time. And again, if you've got, you know, 6 open houses to do in that weekend, I salute you again. You may not need this, but um, for most of us, we've got one open a weekend right now. So let's maximize it. Focus your energy on it. Get everything done that you can. Maximize your share of the buyers that are going to come there. Okay, so how do you do that? You make it a party. You send out invitations. Imagine you want to dominate an area of 200 to 300 homes, a good sized neighborhood. You knock on doors with hand delivered, not handwritten, but hand delivered envelopes. Make it a white envelope. I know I have a black envelope here. Make it a white envelope because only 10% of the people are going to be home, come to the doors, but you get to have conversations. 200 houses, that's 20 conversations that you're having with people. And you'd be surprised at the conversations you'll have. Don't think that they may not be wanting to come because you don't know. They may have a brother or a neighbor or a coworker who's moving into that area. So knock on doors, send an invitation, make it a party. How do I make that? Do a barbecue. Do have an ice cream truck there. Make it really festive. Have signs just like new construction. Have signs from not just 4 corners, leading to it. Have signs further out leading to it. Now, yes, I know for those of you in urban environments, it's hard to have a barbecue, and I will grant you that. But how about the ice cream truck? Listen, anybody who hears that, you remember that sound? Right? You can't hear that sound and not smile. You just do. And by the way, you follow that sound and it leads you to the ice cream truck. Oh, it's not free ice cream? What do you mean? Oh, I have to get a voucher from the open house? Let me see the open house. You never know what's going to happen. They get a voucher, they go with the ice cream. It's great. Make it a festive occasion. The big thing about this is people are not only coming to see the house, unwittingly, they're coming to see you. They're interviewing you. They want to know, well, how is this different? How does this person, market this house? Because I may want to use that. So all the different things you do, you make it this extravaganza, this debutante. Because if you think about it, that's what the house is. You're debuting the house to the open market. So you're introducing the inside of the house, so that people can see it. So again, you do that. Not many other realtors are doing that. They're going to remember you. They're not going to remember someone who just had a boring, regular open house. Oh yeah, I saw that house. It's nice. Great neighborhood. Yada yada. Or did you see that? They had ice cream. They had barbecue. They had all the balloons going all over the place. So, okay, let's talk about common open house issues. There's always some. Um, the most common ones are, you know, I don't have a house to have open. I don't have any listings. Okay, that's great. So you may not have listings. I'm assuming someone in your brokerage does. Constantly let them know. I know realtors who, in the past, before you were getting 20 or 30 people, who made a living out of doing other people's open houses, never really didn't really focus on their own listings. And that's how they would get buyers. Um, so you can offer to do them for other people in your brokerage. You can also maybe offer to do them at when they're not. So here's what I mean by that. So maybe they're going to host their own open house on that Sunday or Saturday. You say to them, "Listen, I'd like to do one for the neighborhood. And I have this whole plan. This is what we do. Can I do that on a Thursday night?" Your seller is going to be, terrific. They're going to love it because they're going to get a lot of feedback from the neighborhood. So, you know, that's one way to overcome that. Next is people don't sign in. Welcome to the digital age. Here's how we solve that for once and for all. So we use digital sign-in solutions. They make it easy for people to sign in and capture. It's very important that you do it that way and capture, follow up with those people. So who here has heard of, Curb Hero, Open Home Pro, Spacia? So they're digital sign-in solutions. Here's what Curb Hero looks like. You get a QR code to touchless sign-in, lead capture, automated follow-up, single property sites. It gives you all the CRM integration, all this stuff. So it's a simple digital open house sign-in app that's proven to save real estate agents time, um, generate leads from social media. It can help you with a lot of different things. Yes, you have to pay for it. I don't know all the different costs. Some of them are more expensive. Some of them do less. I think Open Home Pro is one of that. But it does still help you with lead capture, automated follow-up, and marketing those open houses online. Has anybody used those? You can also put that in the chat. Here's a simpler version of this, an iPad and a pedestal. So that you can use people to sign in. And yes, you can get that on Amazon. You can get everything on Amazon. You can get your next spouse on Amazon. No, I'm just kidding. Um, so you can use the iPad. I'm not a fan of that because I know me and it's just me. I'm worried about some little kid walking around. He ripped off the iPad and he's trying to find some game that he can play while his parents are looking at this stupid boring house. Um, that's just me. Here's another thing to do. Have an actual. This gives you more of a human touch. Have a greeter in there. Have a designated sign-in person. They welcome people to your open house. They tell them to tour the property, have some of the barbecue. Please keep the barbecue outside of the house. They have them basically sign them in, and they can tell them, listen, for anyone to come in, we've got to get some of your information for safety reasons, and so that we can tell you how the house is doing later on. And here's a sample script. You can get this back in the replay. Just make sure, one thing I would tell you, if you're going to get a human greeter, is make sure that they know stuff about the house, they have the facts of the house down, and they have some information on the surrounding neighborhood. Okay, so here's the simple 3-step blueprint for success with open houses. Step 1 is planning your open house, right? For most, this means, scheduling the open house, but that's really just the beginning, Oops, sorry. Step 2 is you want to promote. And again, we're going to dig deeper into that. There's a lot of newer ways over the past 5 years to promote houses. But step 3, yes, it's the F word, follow up. Because all the stuff that you're doing that we're talking about with the open house, you really need to follow up in order to make it effective and to again, maximize the sales potential for you. And we're gonna cover that critical part in just a little bit. But first, A word on quality photos. Um, According to NAR, 83% of buyers said pictures are very important for them to choose, helping them choose the homes that they will even visit, go out and look at. Listen, we all go and look at the pictures first, no matter if we use Redfin, Zillow, or our realtors app, right? Uh, Bad pictures swipe left, good pictures swipe right. Guys learn that from puberty. Yet only 35% of agents hire a professional photographer. And if you want more evidence of why that makes a difference, so Inman, who's a real estate news organization, reports that quality photos can help you get a higher asking price per square foot 47% of the time. So should we invest in quality photography? Yes and yes. Okay, planning. Let's talk step one. Planning your day and time to start your open house. What's the right time to open house? Well, that depends. You know, when do you think people are going to come? When does it work in everyone's schedule? I mean, usually it's Saturday and Sunday. You do 1 to 4 p.m. Some will do a twilight open. The brokers opens you do during the week, during the day. But you might do a Thursday or a Wednesday night, twilight open house, 5 to 7, 6 to 8, whatever you want to do, and maybe that's the time you get the neighbors to come. Again, Saturday and Sunday, people are free. It's the best time to come. You could even do that. The neighbors open prior to your regular open. Like, we talked about having longer open houses. You could do from 10:30 to 12 for the neighbors open, and then 12 to 4, 12 to 5 for the regular open house. Regardless of the day and time, what's most important is you be prepared. You don't want to be that agent who's unprepared and late. And we'll show you an example of that right now. Ready? Watch this.
Just go in the ground! Where are my balloons at? I need orders. I need a pan. Just a minute! Aluminum, that's fine. Just a minute!
Okay, so that's definitely not the person you want to be, and we can all laugh at that. I've seen that like 20 times now. Still smile at that again and again. Okay, another step on your on this open house journey is planning to prep the house. I'm not going to go too much into detail because again, that's kind of remedial on what you should do for open houses. But there's a digital component of this that we can unpack. So they include stuff like decluttering, curb appeal, opening blinds, letting light in, all that stuff that that you're supposed to do, right? But take a look at this. So before and after, before, after, before, after. So sometimes it's hard to get sellers to declutter. I don't know about you. There's two sides of the fence with leaving personal pictures up, but just decluttering, make it look. So you can show them these. Send them these pictures. You can find these all over. Of what it looks like before and after, and just ask them, which one would you rather do? And then when you get there and they haven't decluttered enough, I'm sure we teach Chat GPT class on artificial intelligence, and there's so many AIs now. I'm going to bet you that there's an AI out there that if you took a picture of their house, put it into the AI and said declutter, it would come out totally decluttered. You show them that and say, which one would you buy? And that should solve your problem. Also, on the digital age, the benefits of decluttering, posting content about the benefits of decluttering is a great way to add value to your current clients, your followers, and drive engagement, which will help in your open houses. You can post a series of tips, images, and videos. Instagram's a great place to do that. And let's talk about promoting your open house. The purpose of holding an open house, one of the purposes is to generate a buzz and drum up interest in a home. But effectively promoting an open house can also help in building your business versus just selling the home. So let's take a look at some ways to promote and build your business at the same time. Sound good? Before we do, talking about promotion, um, this is what we do. We help real estate agents grow. We don't charge for this. We hold the classes for free. We help them grow using social media, using the most relative content, tips, and tools available, leading to more warm leads and sales conversations and conversions as a result of consistent market visibility. So I was a realtor for a number of years before I went into the mortgage space. And when I went to the mortgage space, eventually I ended up going in-house for 19 years, 17 with Berkshire Hathaway, before it was even Berkshire Hathaway, and a couple of years with Keller Williams. So one of the things that happened when I left, I had to reinvent myself, right? And I got countless emails and phone calls from marketers who would just say, "Hey, for the low, low price of whatever it was," and I spent thousands of dollars, we can increase your Google reviews. We can get you more likes on Facebook. We can do a dozen things, none of which really panned out the way I thought that they were supposed to. And I will tell you that at the end of that, I started saying, well, people aren't that bright. Why can't I learn to do it? Yeah, I may not have been born in the digital age or with a phone in my hand, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn stuff. We're reasonably intelligent people. And then when I started learning, I started seeing, because I was in house for all those years, I started seeing what you guys went through, what your daily grind was, with the things that you needed. And I thought, you know what? This is a great way to really connect. I mean, it's easy for me as a loan officer or any of your loan partners to basically, throw a cocktail party. It's great. You have fun. You smile. You wake up the next day. Did you learn anything other than you have a headache and, maybe if you're lucky, a good smile, and that's about it, but nothing that helped you in your business. So that's why I focus on investing back in people and doing it that way. Okay. And that's all the promotion you're going to get from me. All right. So how do you promote it? Well, Facebook. Here's the places you want to consider posting on Facebook. And again, we're not going to go into great detail here, but you can market on Facebook and Instagram, your personal business pages, your Facebook events, your Facebook Marketplace. Yes, Marketplace. As you can see behind me, my wife would say I have a small guitar addiction. Uh, but so I go on Facebook Marketplace shopping for guitars at times, and I see stuff for real estate and other things too. So, and they seem out of place, but it's interesting. They get noticed because they're different. So it's a lot of different places that you might not expect. Have you used any of these methods? You can also use groups. Um, there's different ways to get more response. You can test them out, you can boost them. Same thing with Instagram. You can do real stories, live and pre-recorded ads that boost. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do to literally get that done, on Instagram. And again, when you're boosting it, you don't have to spend a fortune doing that to get it done. You can also use YouTube shorts and YouTube to drive people. And there's a different way to use YouTube that we're going to get this, but all of this drives engagement. The goal is start conversations. Let's talk about that now. Let's talk about live streaming. So, anybody recognize this guy? Yes, this real estate agent, Ryan Serhant from $1 Million Listings in New York. So, you can live stream or record your open house. And you can do it before you actually have the open house, but there's parts of it that I would highly recommend if you can hire a not so expensive videographer, or maybe an expensive one if you've got the money to spend in your budget. You don't need a $10,000 camera, okay? But so if you live stream or record your open house, it creates buzz for other ones because you can cut that up into 10, 15 different clips, everything from showing how you hold an open house to a day in the life of a realtor. Because given what's going on today, unfortunately, the public has been told that you guys do nothing to earn your compensation. Don't say commission; it's compensation. Anyhow, so keep in mind, he grew this. Ryan Serhant used marketing like this to grow into a $4 billion marketplace. That's what he's done. He's starting his own brokerage. He's done exceedingly well. Now, your aspirations may be a little bit different. Maybe it doesn't end up on one of the major channels. It just ends up on your YouTube channel. It's still great content to use. Speaking of having your phones out using video, send a video email to your database 48 hours before your open house. They may not be interested in this open house, but can you tell me that you absolutely know that they don't have a coworker, someone else in their family, a friend that's interested in that area, or this might be a house for them? You don't know that. And again, easy to do. You're talking about a 30-second video you put on your phone, you hit send to your database. You can do that through BombBomb. You could do it through Vidyard, Warm Welcome, SendSpark. I've used the first two. They work very well. They give you the open rates. They'll tell you every time it's open, how often it's open, when it was opened. Again, it's a way to have a conversation. Conversations lead to contracts. So you can check out any of these apps to get that done. Okay, circle prospecting. Again, it's more remedial. I'm not going to go into too much, but this is a way to generate a buzz around your listing. You can do it a couple different ways. You can do door hangers, you can do flyers, door knocking, which I highly recommend doing it that way. Door knocking at the very least. You can go to a place like Nextdoor, digital age again. So Nextdoor, it's an app. So as a neighbor, you join them as a neighborhood sponsor. You can promote your open house to all the neighbors who live near your listing. You can ask them if they know anybody who might be interested in moving in the area. Again, for them, a home sale is an opportunity to choose who their neighbors are. But you can post open houses, sponsor neighborhoods, engage people, get an idea of what's going on in the neighborhood, advertise, free business page. There's a lot you can do with that. It's another good resource. We talked about, well, how do we find, the people in the area? How do we know who's going to be interested? Call Realty Resource, sell the whole neighborhood, is a way to do that. So they can help you with what we spoke about a couple of slides ago. You can use a service like this or this one. So they help you identify potential clients based on custom search criteria, such as length of time. To give you an example, again, step by step, is you put in the address of your open house. You put in a criteria, hey, I'd like to know who in this area has been here for 8 years or longer than 8 years. There's different criteria on. You could use price point for a criteria. It's a whole bunch of things, and it'll rip out that data and present it to you in an Excel spreadsheet or other format that you can pretty easily use, and you can use that to know who you should focus on. Okay, we talked about preparing, promoting. It's the big day. So first, quick word about safety. So safety at open houses is a growing concern for all realty shops, realtors, and their teams. Wouldn't you agree? So consider a couple tips to be safe. We'll go through this quickly. Always try and have at least one other person at your open house working with you. Again, when you're getting good promotion, you've got a house that's reasonably priced, you might likely get 15, 20, 30 people. One person can handle that. It's better, and it makes you look better having two other people there, one other person there. Your seller's going to appreciate that, and the people that are coming to the open house will notice. Notify someone. Let's say you're doing one that you don't have a big buzz on. Still safety first. Notify someone that you're doing the open house. Tell them you're going to check in with them twice, and if they don't hear, they should call you. Have all the open house visitors, of course, do a signing, full names, addresses, phone number, and email. And when showing the open house, direct them. This is important. So if someone says, "Hey, can you show me where the kitchen is?" You can say, "Yes, go ahead over here. It's off to the left. I'll follow you in." Don't lead them. That's when you get in trouble. Follow them in. Then you can help them. You want to know what's in front of you. And last but not least, don't laugh at this because I had it happen to me. It was at a broker's open, and it wasn't the backyard. I got locked in on the roof. But check the house when you're done the open house and make sure nobody's in the bathrooms, the backyard, and the basement, because you can lock people in. Um, so make sure you check that. Okay, open house signs. Eye-catching signs are great. Again, you want to build a buzz, you want people to be excited, you want it to be festive, balloons work. Um, I like Berkshire Hathaway has a huge banner, purple and white banners. They're great. If you look here, the QR code signs, they're phenomenal. Because you can use those QR codes to give people facts about the house, or you can use it to show them other houses. There's a lot of things you can do with it. You can have a QR code lead them to the website for the house. These are very good on open house sites, particularly if it's a walkable neighborhood. If you have an urban environment, be mindful. There may be some restrictions. Okay, more digital stuff. Property flyers, financing flyers, handouts can be a great way to connect and help people see themselves buying this home or a home like it. So you want to have property flyers, going through all extolling the virtues of the house, what they have in it, and financing flyers. So your mortgage partner can help you with these, or should be able to help you with it, creating these financial flyers. Show people, various ways to finance this. You want to make it easy for them to get in. You want to make it easy for them to see themselves and look and say, "Oh, I can do that," because people aren't in this every day. You'd be amazed at the amount of people I talk to who still think that you have to put 20% down, which you and I know is not the case. We do this every day. We see what's going on. Other people don't. They don't know what their houses are worth. They don't know how much it's going to take to get into a house. You can tell them interest rates are 6%, 7%, 8%, 4%. They don't know what that really looks like. So these flyers can show them that. More important, I use QR codes on my flyers too to say, "Hey, if you want, any other financing on any other house, if you want to see what it looks like given any scenario, just hit the QR code, put in some basic information, and we'll get back to you in a specific period of time and give you that information." So, scenario for closing costs. Again, all these are great. There's different ones you can use. We have a total cost analysis that we use that people really appreciate. If you're selling a house and have an open house in what would be more deemed a first-time buyers kind of area or that type of house, this is great. It's buy versus rent. People, again, don't do this for a living. They don't understand. Yeah, it looks like the first year maybe it's going to cost you more currently than it is for your rent. But look what happens over time. And they don't see that. They don't know that. An appreciation forecast, another stunner for people. They had no idea. You tell them, "Oh, over a 50-year period, houses appreciate 4.3%, per year." Well, they don't understand that on a $500,000 house, that means a year later it's going to be worth over 520 in just 1 year. So that overpaying $10,000, $20,000 for a house isn't a big deal, and it's not even overpaying, but you'll make that up in a year. How many people move out in a year? So there's a lot of good stuff that you can get with these. Again, it fosters conversations. Conversations lead to contracts. Here's another good thing I found. I forget the person who was doing this, but I really liked this idea. So what you do is you have a bunch of those flowers, and we'll show you the flowers that you should have on this. I call this the Starbucks psychology. Starbucks do this. You walk into Starbucks, you put your name on the flyer, or I'm sorry, they ask you your name and they put it on the cup. It's not because they need to identify whose it is. No, they do that through other methods. No, it's because they're trying to get you to feel comfortable, friendly in there. They want a connection with you. So now they have a coffee cup and it's got your name and they write it down. You see them write it or type it in, and then they hand it to you and it's got your name on that's your coffee cup. Well, somebody took that and said, I'm gonna have several packets prepared. I'm gonna name the street on the front, put four. I'm gonna ask them their name as they walk in. Jenny and Mark, great. Jenny and Mark, here is your folder for this open house. By the way, it's got your contact information in the bottom. This belongs to you. Okay. In the folder, you're going to have stuff like a map to other open houses in the area, a sheet of features on the home, a neighborhood guide. There's a product called List Reports that'll show you in a neighborhood guide, how many dry cleaners are, how many grocery markets there are, how many movie places, where how many hardware stores, all important things that somebody's going to want to know about a neighborhood you can get with that list report. And it even gives you, tells you how many there are and how far away they are. So, you can have that in there. There's something else that I saw that a successful realtor does. They get a sheet from their seller. So again, getting your seller to participate on the things they love about that house and what they liked about the neighborhood, the things that they found fascinating or the things they enjoyed most in the neighborhood. And they put that on a sheet and that goes in here. Again, who else is going to do that? Not any of the houses, open houses that I've been to have been doing this. So you're going to be remembered because I would remember them if they did. I would go, that's kind of cool. Another thing you could do, hire a photographer. Keep in mind, perception is reality, particularly in business, right? When people see that you've got a photographer there at the open house, and by the way, it can be your brother-in-law, Bill, with a very nice looking camera. That's it. Bill he just has to dress as a professional photographer. Let them assume it. But, if you hire a photographer, it means that you must be successful, right? Again, it doesn't have to be the reality, but it's a perception and it draws people in. They see this on your social media, they're going to gravitate towards you. Here's something that I love. You can get once again on Amazon. It's a booty machine. So, number one, this is attention to detail. People will note this. Your sellers will appreciate this. You get a booty machine, load it up, people put their foot in it, and then they can walk through the house. It's like, hey, can I come in? Sure. But if you want to shake your booty in the house, you got to shake your boot in this booty machine. So there's all kinds of jokes you can make, which again, conversations lead to contracts. And you can crack other jokes other than my dumb ones here, but invest in that too. All right, now we're up to the F word, which is follow-up. I cannot overestimate how critical this is. It's the payoff for all your hard work and all the work that you've done to do this open house. Part of that depends upon your CRM. Some of you may not have a CRM. I understand that completely. I didn't have a CRM the first 15 years I was in business, and it was a big mistake. But there's ones that are realtor specific, Pipe Drive, Real Geeks, Contactually, Lions Desk, Follow Up Boss. And again, your future business lives in your CRM. This is going to be how to send people on a journey and how you want them to come to realize, that you're the person they should be working with. You can track, measure, automate your follow-up. It'll save you endless time in the end. If you don't have a CRM, here's the ones to use. I want to make you aware, if you're not aware, that Follow Up Boss, which is a great CRM, was bought by Zillow last December of 2023. I don't know about you. I don't like having nothing about Zillow, but I don't like a competitor having control of all my information. I'm not that trustworthy. Okay. Here's a whole bunch of, and again, you're going to see this more on YouTube and in the replay, you can do this, but here's your follow-up. There's buyer follow-up. What do you want to do first? Well, thanks for attending. You could do it in a video message. You could do it in a card. Here's a way to download the free buyer guide. and you tell them that in the, don't give everything away in that little packet you give them. Seller would appreciate your feedback, voicemail. So it tells you the message, different messages that you want to get a hold of and give out to buyers, the modality, the way you get them to them, and what your goal is. And there's, 2 pages of this. There's the same thing for sellers. Again, two different markets. So different questions, different things that you want to get through to them, but not so much. You can download the free seller guide. Um, but you want to build a rapport. You want to use this stuff to start more conversations. Um, Here's more of those. And then you have sample messages. Again, if you're you can use a handwritten thank you. I want to thank you for coming to the open house. Enter the address, the date. What questions do you have? Or it was nice meeting you and at the open house. I'd love to touch base with you. I understand that you might want a CRM, or understand the value of your house. I do this for free, whatever it is. Okay, so hopefully, and wow, that took a little longer than I thought. Sorry, I talked more. Um, but hopefully you got the gist of what we're doing. What was your one big idea? You can again put that in here. I really hope you got something out of it, enjoyed it. If you do, I'm just like you. I live and die on reviews as well. So if you can capture that, scan it, leave me a review. And on top of that, even more importantly than the review, is if there's a subject, because right now I'm currently teaching about 12 or 13 classes. My group has about 19 or 20 of them available. But if there's something that you find that you really need, that's lacking, that you can't get enough information, and you don't have the time like I do, where we scour the country and we look for realtors who are having success using different ways of marketing. They something that you need, put it in there. Let me know what it is. We'll, if we get enough requests for it, we'll build a step-by-step presentation to do that. Again, reach out if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful information. You will receive, if you get a hold of me, either text, email, again, all my social contact, I can send you out this free checklist for open houses that'll help you prepare for your next open house. And that's it. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed it. Once again, I'm Kevin Berju. Have a great day.